All right. So I've taken a deep breath. We are no more organized. But we're back. And I think we have sound. Fingers crossed. People should be hearing us. So here for part 2, we're going to have Horry Sheet. Talk to him for a little bit. We are still joined by Roxanne, David, Marsh, and Nora.
You can dance too.
Oh, I dig it. Everybody jam. Get ready. Here we go. We are aware. We are aware. We are not alone.
Oh, you muted.
We are
Striving for more.
We are aware. Okay. Because that's how we do here on the realm. Okay, welcome back. Thanks for rejoining us. As much fun as that first show was, I think we're in store for a lot more good times. Good times for all, it could be said.
I would have to agree.
So everybody, welcome Horry Sheet to the officially for the first time here to the Iron Realm. We are so glad to have you, Horry. It's an absolute pleasure.
I am glad to be here, guys. I've been here for the past hour listening, and I'm so excited that we are all networking together to make a difference on this plane. We're all doing some awesome stuff to do that, whether we're doing observations, experiments, activism on the street, activism from your lazy boy, whatever you're doing. Sharing links is still activism. Sharing links is makes me very happy too. Share this link, guys, if you're watching right now. All 40 of you. Go ahead, share that link in your favorite Facebook group, or 4 or 5. I shared it to 23 on one account, and it's going to another 8 on my second account. So just saying, do your part. Do your part. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I'm not even like, I'm only on the tab right now, and I love this. I love looking at it. It's still going. It's got 2 more to go, and I don't have to worry about it. Thank you. Pilotposter.com. It's free. And if you want to get into it, so far it seems pretty safe. A lot of them are not safe. But yeah, this is how I post all my stuff. And this is how you can post all your favorite content, whether you're a producer or just a viewer. So
you writing that down, Walter? Pilotposter.com.
Yes, do it.
That sounds like it would be something I definitely need if I can not have to spend
I'll get with you on it. I'll get with you on it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, we have been fans. I have, at least personally, been a fan of yours for a long time. I was just sort of delving into what we could possibly do here on the Iron Realm, because we had guys, from all over the plane bringing our heads together. And I have zero of talent to bring to the table. So I was just frantically trying to figure out what it is I could do. And I was looking at like video editors and how to edit videos and stuff, and was playing around with some green screens and like, wow, there's some really cool effects that we could do. And just as I was trying to play around with it and learn how to chroma key and all this cool stuff, here along comes Horry Sheet Show doing all sorts of cool stuff. So you have just been the absolute trendsetter. You still are. There's still nobody really out there doing exactly what you're doing as well as you're doing it. So my hat's off to you, sir.
Thanks, man. And it's just, I started, I hope to inspire people, because I didn't go to school. I didn't pay for a lick of college training for any of this. I actually wanted to be a web designer, and when I went to college, I knew more than my teacher there, so it kind of sucked, and college was ruined for me. So anyway, I realized that I didn't like working for the Matrix, working for an employer, a 9-to-5 job, if you will, something I literally had to go from Hammond, Louisiana to Laplace, Louisiana every day for, which, by the way, made me travel the Pontchartrain Bridge, ladies and gentlemen, every freaking day, twice a day. And guess what? It's flat. Totally flat. Totally flat. And could I see the
quick
buildings
question
in the
then,
distance?
Horry, on that.
What?
Is that, you know, that bit on the bridge where it goes up and down, is it really as steep as it looks? Because that looks like a freaking roller coaster, baby.
I wish it was, man. It would have made the commute a whole lot more freaking fun. But no, I couldn't see the buildings ahead of me most days. Why? Fog, ladies and gentlemen, not curvature. Not curvature at all. It was just a foggy day. It was so much humidity over that bridge at any given day. I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if it didn't look curved. If we got a flat shot of that bridge, I'd be pretty surprised. And guess what? There's not too many of them, but there are ways to tell that the bridge doesn't curve as much as it looks like by the end of the columns or whatever disappearing. Well, come on, let's follow that curve. How small is the ball, right?
Horry, how long is that bridge? It's something like 20 odd miles, isn't it?
Okay.
Right at 25, close to it, 24 or something.
Oh,
Right.
right.
And I remember reading on their website or an article that was talking about the construction of that bridge, and they said, and we even had to take into account the curvature of the Earth, and the one side is 2 inches lower than the other side, and I just pissed myself. I was like 2 inches over 20 odd miles.
2 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
I would love to see their calculations.
Right, exactly.
Or just tell me.
If
You
you
don't have to show me. It's pretty complicated, I'm sure. Just tell me roughly how you figured that to be 2 inches over 24.7 miles.
And then
Let's get
run
the
it
shorthand.
past Chris
The
Van
shorthand.
Maitre for us.
if you follow the logic of the maths that sound is presenting in that image, where it's pretty straight, then you get this rapid curve, which we laugh about a basketball. If you apply the rate of curve to it, it really does present a good argument for a disc world. But it would suggest that 2 or 3 miles after the bridge at Pontchartrain, it does curve off completely. To a full
Completely.
disc. Yeah, the rate of curve is phenomenal. You know, not only does it go up first of all on that downward slope, but it then curves downwards at a fantastic rate. So
Even though the builders themselves admit that they had a 2-inch discrepancy between either side. Yeah, so something doesn't quite add up between Soundly and the builders of the bridge, but yeah, very strange.
It's disgusting. But you know what I was saying was I hope to inspire the people that like what I do, because I have no real knowledge of, like, college experience, I should say, on how to do any of this. So I learned what I know from YouTube. So I hope that inspires people. I learned simple photo editing to take the car out of the video. I took a screenshot of Elon Musk's video, simple screenshot with the best spot of it. Like, there's only a couple of good frames where nothing else is in view, or I guess there's more frames, but I cut the car out, just cut it out, put it in. OBS is what I use. For people who don't know, OBS is an open broadcaster software. It's an open source, free software you can stream videos with. You can create videos with it, do podcasts with it, all kinds of stuff. It's all free.
And
And
that screws up my next question, because I was about to ask where you were in the cosmos in Elon's car, but I guess it's just all bullshit CDI. Damn.
Sorry to burst your space bubble there, but yeah. And speaking about,
fires aren't burst.
I was just gonna say, I said speed bubble, and there it was. That's what happens. The whole background that I'm using, literally, it used to be a 2.5 hour long background. Now it's 6.5 hours long. So much stuff in the background. I got Alex Conspiracy Music Guru coming by on a NASA rocket, and I got his dog on a satellite. I got so much more bubbles. I got beer cans floating by. I got so much stuff back here, but a lot of it's talking points. Whether I can talk about Alex and who he is, or talk about why I got a space bubble, or two. There's another one going by. I mean,
Horry.
that one took a curve. So that one,
You
oh
can't
boy,
do
wow. I could
In
talk about.
space, there is Coriolis, apparently.
It's almost as if you're having fun, Horry. That's
Oh.
just not on this flat Earth, surely.
Oh man, I catch so much flack. Look, I caught flack the other day. Some lady, I don't want to say what event she's really closely tied to, but if I find out that she's really close to an event and came on my Facebook page today to say what she did, I'm gonna go ham on that on my next show. Man, there's a whole lot of bubbles going on. Excuse me, guys.
You need you need flack going past in the background.
You know what she said? She goes, flack. Yeah, I need some flack. No, I need some hate. Like words hate should come flying by. Hate.
Going through a flat field. Hate field, yeah. Oh no,
yeah. Asteroids with the word hate on it. I don't know. Something. But no,
Julie Andrews at the top of the mountain with her arms up in a field of hate.
Well, the thing was, look, the complaint was that, oh, what are we doing now? You're forcing us to come watch your flat Earth stream that's not flat Earth anymore. You're showing us a guy doing magic tricks. I'm like, that was like a 20-minute segment of a 6-hour live stream, lady. I'm sorry if I took a break to watch a dude's magic trick while I tried to flat smack him, which actually went very well. I won the bonus round. If you don't know what the bonus round is on my show, that's when I get an Asian person to say the Horry Sheet show.
You forced her to watch it. You obviously had a gun to her head.
Oh, of course I did. And I totally put her in her place. Anybody can go see. I'm like, look, if you don't know, first of all, I was like, you're in the wrong chat. And she goes, oh, and no, she says two reasons you're doing a wrong thing. She's like, oh, well, you're making us watch magic tricks and you're not saying hi to anybody who enters the chat. Well, she was in the Facebook chat. I streamed to 6 different platforms, actually. So like, I'm not in each chat so it's like, it's hard to do, and plus I can't tell you how much I'm drinking on my show. But
no, neither can we. And
you know how drunk I am.
I routinely avoid chat.
No,
but I do love you, chat.
Oh, my chat has a blast. They know that I get into some crazy stuff. I was twerking on my show the other day. I was talking to a tiger yesterday. All kinds of stuff could happen on my show, but it's all in good fun. It's all in waking people up. And I dare say what I do is pretty effective. If you watch the show, you'll be entertained and you'll see that I'm really making a lot of people, more people than not. I'm saying 7 out of 10 people, 6 out of 10 people really think about it rather than just, I don't know, me goofing off, because I have to catch their attention. These people aren't walking on the streets looking at what I have and asking me questions. I'm approaching these people kind of sideways, and I have to do this differently. And that's why I catch a lot of flack. People think, oh, it's not a joke. It shouldn't be so entertaining. I'm like, sorry, go watch something else, No,
I think what you do is brilliant. I think you bring a totally different angle to it. It's like, it's like normal TV, isn't it? You got your comedy, you got your serious, you got your news, you got your updates. It's you need the whole spectrum of it, and you're certainly covering that side of it. I think it's great.
That's why I've always liked Patricia, because she sort of helped bring that normalization, that sort of mainstream aspect of just trying to say, okay, if this letter of information is really cool, let's find out about who it is that brought this information to you. Let's find about these content creators.
That's it. On Radio 4, I don't know if you get that in America or anything. We've got something called Desert Island Discs, which always used to sort of bring me comfort. I don't know about you, Adam, if you're familiar.
I've not retired yet, no.
Well, I was listening to that a long time ago because it just gave me I get the same sort of cuddly feeling, when I listen to Patricia Steer. Sometimes sometimes the it's point just necessary.
Mate, there's stuff that's it's kind of like Ranty. I was talking to Ranty about, because he's stirring and supporting wildly. Shout out to Ranty, respect, mate. Not the super chat, wicked. That's another round of drinks, boys, when we meet up, by the way. But he's kind of gathering a community, and there is a kind of flat Earth TV guide coming out where there is stuff coming out of not one particular type of content, not necessarily factual, but you know, you can get to a Friday night and come to IRM and sit and
Really? Who's putting
chill
that
out.
out?
But there's a variety of stuff. You know, if you look at this week, it's wicked. I don't go anywhere near TV. You've got
Adam, just to let you know that I'll be on the new series it's being broadcast from March this year. So it's going to be series 6, and it's based on experiences, and mine's based on my Flat Earth Awakening. So look out for tattoo fixers on E4 from March onwards. I've never actually watched an episode of it. I got invited on the show. I shot it for 3 days down London, but I've still never watched a full episode of the show yet, so I don't even know what it's about. But look out for it, and I've heard it's quite popular. So
you're gonna have to come on and take us through that then when you're after you're on.
Absolutely, I was about to say the same thing, Adam. That's brilliant, man.
And that's Dave Marsh, guys. In case you haven't, he's kind of like low for me, and I didn't even know who it was, and I'm on the panel, so that was Dave Marsh. In case you didn't recognize who he was, there's some maybe a connection blurring happening there, Dave.
Yeah, there was. You guys maybe have a bit of a connection issue. You garbled out a little bit right at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
When you said where you were going to be on and when you were going to be on.
Yeah, the beginning was lost. Yeah.
Do it again, Dave. Do it again, just because proper shout out, buff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, I got invited onto Tattoo Fixers for Series 6, which was based on experiences, and mine's based on my Flat Earth experiences. And they get approximately 1 million viewers a week on E4, which is a Channel 4 channel. And obviously, mine's based on my Flat Earth experience. So, you know what I mean? I dropped a few little Easter eggs in there as well. I was reading my mate Mark Hollander's book as I'm doing it. I had my Ken of Art Flat Earth t-shirt on, and obviously I was promoting Flat Earth as well. How they depict it is another, you know what I mean, another thing. Like so, but you know what I mean. I did what I could. I did a good interview, and I sat through the show, and it just happened that Sketch, one of the artists, shares the same beliefs that we all share, that there's no measurable curvature. So hopefully they've done it in a good light. So
they're pretty cool dudes on there. I've seen that. It's what Marie, she'll go, come here, come and look at this. Do you know what I mean? So please tell me you've had a ball change, Dave. You've had, I don't mean that in a physiological sense. I mean that in a tattoo sense.
Lance Armstrong kind of way.
Season 6 is based on experiences. It's not based on a cover-up. Yeah. And mine's based on my Flat Earth Awakening. Yeah. So it's not based on a cover-up. It's based on the experience. Yeah. And mine's all based around my Flat Earth Awakening.
But ironically, you're having a cover-up done.
No, there's no cover-up. It's a brand new tattoo based on an
brand
experience.
new.
Yeah.
For an example,
say to season 6 again.
Yeah, season 6, which gets aired in March. Yeah. For an example, a guy had an heart transplant, and he'd had a heart transplant on his arm. A woman had been in a horrific car crash, and she'd had an angel on her arm. And I've had my tattoo based on my Flat Earth experience with my observation of the moon, which is all related to the moon.
It's not a cover-up.
So it's not a cover-up. It's based on experiences.
That's a revelation. Awesome. Wicked, mate.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So look out for it, and it kicks off in March.
Dave Marsh infiltrated mainstream.
Yeah, I infiltrated mainstream.
Yeah, man,
and you say one of the tattoo artists was on board with the ideology.
Flat Earth, yeah.
Nice.
Here first, everyone.
Hey, Dave, when you get, if you want to give any more updates or something, or any info you want to send, man, let me know. I'll pump that out on the news show once or twice before March.
Nice. Well, you know, I've just done some more observations of the moon. Hopefully, I was planning on shooting the eclipse, what we've just had recently, and due to weather conditions, that got stopped. But what I did do, I proved beyond the shadow of doubt with observation that the moon, when it does appear big on the horizon, actually measures smaller, and when it's at its closest point at zenith, it actually measures bigger. And what I've done on my post, I've documented that with images and a measuring tool, from there off measuring
Shouldn't it be the opposite, Dave? Shouldn't it be bigger on the horizon?
No,
It should be the
It
opposite.
looks bigger. Yes, it looks bigger, but it measures smaller because I measured them all at 1440 millimeter focal length on the camera. Yeah, it looked massive when I first shot it on the horizon, but it actually measures smaller. Now, if you go onto my page, Lunar Cosmology Research, what you'll see is, yeah, I've measured the moon from rise to zenith at its closest point. It actually measures smaller. I've also measured the sun, and the sun does the exact same thing. So just go and have a look on there, and you'll see, because it baffled me at first, because when you see the moon when it rises, it looks huge, but it's set against the background, yeah, and it just causes an illusion.
An optical illusion, huh?
When it's high in the air and it looks tiny, it actually measures bigger.
Wow.
I'm going by the measurements on the camera, yeah. All at the same focal range, 1440 millimeter, which is the optical range of my camera, yeah. And I measured it every hour up until the zenith, and it measures smaller and bigger to zenith, and then it actually got smaller once it passed zenith. So yes, one of the questions that the globularist asked was, well, if the moon is closer and it is smaller, then it should appear to get smaller as it goes away or as it gets closer. And what I've done, I've proved that it does. You know what I mean? With observation and measurable, observable, repeatable information. And
so he's proven the moon illusion is an illusion.
yeah, so basically I proved it is an illusion. And what I did, I took all the information from the heliocentric model, like 238,000 miles away, and the moon 1,790 miles in circumference. I said, right, let's take it that the moon's 2,380 miles away, and it's 10.7 miles in circumference. What I showed is that the size of the moon is relative to the distance. You know what I mean? So whether it's 238,000 miles away or 2,380 miles away, you're still going to see the moon the same size, yeah, relative to the distance. So when the moon is further away, yeah, it will measure further away. Although it looks bigger, it will measure smaller. And like I say, when it's closer at zenith, it will measure bigger. And what I've done, I've shown this. You know what I mean? Because what I do, yeah, I'm not trying to prove the Earth's flat with this. I'm trying to disprove the globe model, because it's impossible to disprove the shape of the Earth with observing the moon. All I can do is question the globe model. And what I did
now, have you
on the eclipse.
I was just go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
On the eclipse we had in July, what I proved, yeah, that the heliocentric model is wrong by measuring the moon, yeah, because what happens on the eclipse, the moon remains full for nearly 12 hours. Now, for the moon to remain full for 12 hours when it's in constant motion against the fixed sun is impossible in the heliocentric model. But what I did, I proved this with observation, and I backed it up with the data from MoonCalc as well, to prove that the moon, yeah, remained full for nearly 12 hours during that eclipse, which would be impossible in the heliocentric model when it's in constant motion.
So I'm trying to follow this, and
You just broke my brain. Sorry.
all right.
Drop the mic. Just drop it.
Maybe I shouldn't drink the whiskey first. No, question, Dave. All right, so this sounds like it doesn't necessarily work so well in our favor, but are you saying that it doesn't really work on the ball either, as far as how the moon measures smaller on the horizon, it gets bigger overhead and smaller? Would you say the heliocentric model suggests it should do that, and we have now proven that? But are you saying
heliocentric model? But what the globularists say is that if it did it in the flat Earth model, if it was closer and obviously, you know what I mean, if it was closer to us, then we should see a change in size. And what I did, I proved that there was a change in size when it was at its furthest point and its closest point. You know what I mean? That's what I did. I proved that from a flat Earth perspective, if the moon was closer, it would appear further away when it is actually closer on the horizon. Yeah, and it would measure actually bigger when it's actually on the zenith. You know what I mean? Because they're telling us that, well, if it is closer, then it should measure smaller when it's further away. And what I did, I proved that. You know
So you're showing that angular size reduction of the moon as it goes off into the distance.
exactly. Well, I did it from obviously moonrise to zenith, so I did it the other way around. But yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it favors the flat.
It favors flat. Well, it favors flat Earth, and you know what I mean. And it questions the globe model. So
I'm honestly, I'm gonna have to see what comes out because I'm still confused, but I know the gist of it, and I'm interested. I'm still confused.
He measured the actual size with the program, and it uses pixels where you can actually measure the size of something by comparison of pixels at a distance. Yeah. It has it right here, and it gets the photograph here, and I saw it. It is actually larger when it's over you, and it looks smaller, and when it's on the horizon and it looks enormous, it's actually smaller. Yeah. What
I'll do, Horry, I'll send you the actual link. You'll understand what I did because I tried to explain it better in the link. You know what I mean?
It's okay if I'm slower than everybody else. If I can get it, I can put it out there for other slow people like myself to understand it. That's where I'm.
If the sun and moon is closer, then why doesn't it shrink when it goes up in the distance? And I'm saying, well, it does, and it's relative to the size and the distance it is away. Because the only way you can triangulate the moon, is on the same meridian line. You can't do it on the latitude. You have to do it on the longitude. And it never measures more than 4,000 miles away, ever. You know what I mean? So what I did, I proved that from a flat Earth perspective, that yes, the moon does shrink when it's further away, and when it's at its closest point, it does appear bigger. And I'm going to send you.
I'm starting to understand this. All right, it makes some sense.
You know what, guys? Me and John's been putting some work, Dave, into just moon phases.
Well, I was going to ask if John was ever going to get to this. Uncle Duma was really wanting John to do his presentation. I know John had a couple more slides he wanted to add to it, so I wasn't sure if he would actually do it this week.
Next week.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If Dave's about next week, maybe Dave could join us and comment and then add to it afterward. Because it's not as complex as it, Dave, but it is more along the premise of comprehending why the moon phases prove it can't be on a rotating ball. It doesn't prove flat Earth, but it does demonstrate that via their own model, as John eloquent puts it, the phases are impossible.
On the full moon phase, when it remains full at 100.0% for 11 hours and 46 minutes, you know what I mean? That would be impossible in the heliocentric model. You have to remember the Earth is rotating, and the moon is in constant motion against a fixed sun. It would be you think how many degrees the moon would have moved in 12 hours? Nearly 6 degrees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you.
You know what I mean? That's a long way. And
do it, savage.
Essentially, what you're saying is that what you're observing is what we would expect on the flat Earth, is that the moon is nominally larger overhead and smaller as it gets to the horizons, which is what is claimed by the ballers that we don't see, but you've proved that we do see that. And that shouldn't be the case in a ball Earth model, should it? Because essentially all we're looking at is the difference between a 4,000 mile spin or even half that. The size of the moon should not change as the supposed ball spins and it goes from your zenith to your horizon. Is that essentially what you're saying?
Well, I am saying that, but what I'm saying in the globe model is because they've had 500 years to perfect this math, that's how it would react in the globe model, But the question was in the flat Earth model is that if it does, you know what I mean, when the moon is at its furthest point when it rises, why are we seeing a change in angular size? And I'm saying we are.
That's it. I got it. Now it clicked with me. I think I can get this. What was it Adam that was just talking and asking Dave the question? The thing was, the moon shouldn't change any size, whether we see it on the horizon or overhead or not, because on the heliocentric model, it's still the same point away from us. It's not getting any closer or further away. But you've proved that it's smaller on the horizon, bigger overhead, and so there's a change in size. And on a flat Earth, that works more so on a flat Earth.
Sorry, I've sent you the link, mate. So if you go to Messenger,
I'm saying I'm finally getting it, but now I think maybe a couple of people finally got it as well, because it differs from the globe Earth.
I got asked a question, and it was something what played on my mind in my previous presentation, which I needed to prove to myself. And what I have proved to myself is there is a point of apogee and there is a point of perigee, whether we like it or not. You know what I mean? There is a furthest point to the moon where it appears smaller, and there is a closest point where it feels bigger. I've done it like 8 times. I measured it at different points. I've even been to Ventura and measured it at perigee, and you know what I mean? The size is relative to the distance away.
And to be fair, Dave, there would be, even on the ball model, there would be an apogee and a perigee, but it would be absolutely immeasurable to the minutest scale, because the distance you are away from the moon is only 1/4, say, a turn of the Earth. So, you know, we're talking, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 miles.
Apogee and perigee doesn't affect the actual rotation of the Earth. Yeah, it's the closest point and the furthest point of the moon. You know what I mean? Yeah, it takes like 12 point whatever days to get to its closest point to its furthest point. So regardless,
I think what he's saying is that with that enormous distance of 240,000 miles, that it would be less noticeable, the difference in size?
It wouldn't be noticeable on the rotation side of it, but what it would be noticeable on the apogee and perigee, because that apogee and perigee is like there's quite a significant amount of distance between it.
But essentially what I'm saying is that there is no comparison to what we're saying the model would be if the moon was coming overhead and moving towards us overhead and away from us. That we would expect to see a really measurable size difference in as it traveled across the sky, which is what you're saying you've shown. So that's the point, is that it really does accentuate the flat side of things rather than the ball side of vast distances and immeasurable sort of sizes.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but all my observations was based on a flat Earth perspective. So yeah, the question I got asked is, why isn't the moon getting smaller when it's going further away from you? So what I did, I measured it to see if there was a difference, and what I've done with my measurements, I've proved that from a flat Earth perspective, if the moon was say 2,380 miles away, that there is a change in size, and it's relative to the distance. You know what I mean? It's always relative to the distance. Whether it's 2.3 million miles away, 238,000 miles away, or 2,380 miles away, the size is relative to the distance.
But this is the same. This is the same conversation as we have with ballers that say that the sun should get smaller and larger and smaller as it comes around, and other people have also shown that. Whereas on the ball Earth model, the sun should never change its size, no matter where we're seeing it, because it's such a vast distance away and it's so absolutely huge. I mean, it all sort of gets thrown out with atmosphere anyway, because we're looking through a lens of gunk, water vapor.
Yeah, you do get a lot of atmospheric lensing, but just on the point of the sun, guess what? I've measured the sun on rise and at its highest point at solar noon as well, and the moon does, the sun does get bigger as well. And what is interesting as well is because throughout this year, me and Jennifer Fredo did a little bit of an experiment where we measured the size of the sun on the summer solstice, the equinox, and the winter solstice, and interestingly. Always at solar noon, and there is a change in size in the sun as well. But the strange thing is that in summer, the sun measures smaller at its solar noon, yeah, and at winter it measures bigger. Now, this was a problem for the heliocentric model, so that's why they invented the 23.4 degrees tilt. You know what I mean? To explain that situation, but it's still a situation that's going to be quite difficult to explain on the flat Earth.
Well, the fact that there's a variation in size is almost inexplicable on the ball Earth model. The fact that you've shown a variation in size in both the sun and the moon, whether it's larger in summer and smaller in winter, or the other way around, is a massive factor. That's a significant observation that cannot happen on the current model of the ball Earth.
And this is what I'm trying to put out there. You know what I mean? This is the point I'm trying to make, and it's difficult because I'm always challenged against weather conditions and whatever. You know what I mean? It's taken me nearly 3 years to get to where I am now with my research, with my tracking the moon all through 2017, yeah, to explain the motions of the moon, and then obviously to measure the distance to the moon. You know what I mean? What I'm doing, I'm just building up all my data, and it's out there for everybody to share and everybody to use. But that's all I'm doing now. I'm just collecting all the data in regards to the moon, and that's what I've done. Whereas a lot of people are doing this kind of experiment, or they're doing this and that, I've tried to concentrate all my focus on one point: the moon.
Dave, where can people find your data?
Well, all my data is on my page, and it's Lunar Firma Cosmology, and it's on Facebook. And if they want any kind of data or any readings, they can contact me personally, and if I've got the information, I will give it to them freely.
Can I ask a question? Done these measurements how many times? The change of size in the moon.
The change of size of the moon, I've done probably 8 times.
And so where does that put atmospheric lensing? How do we know when we're getting lensing?
That's a good question. I wanted to ask him that, but I didn't want to sound stupid. Thank you, Nora.
I sounded stupid for you, Horry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did we see similar effects with the sun? Did the sun measure smaller but appear bigger on the horizon? Same as the moon?
I always thought when I saw that moon rise, it was huge. I thought it was bigger due to atmospheric lensing. It wasn't until I actually measured it on rising and measured it at its closest point at zenith that I actually realized it only looks bigger. Yeah?
I think their lie of the illusion of it being closer to objects on the ground view, being relation, that gives it that illusion of being huge on the horizon. Right.
It looks bigger. You know what I mean?
Dave, did you notice anything to do with altitude so far with the moon? I know over the last 4 years, I've paid a lot of attention to the moon, and it definitely seems to coincide with their blood moon. It's closer, super moon, whatever, when it seems like it's lower in altitude.
All my observations were made at zenith, 180 degrees, always. I don't make any other observation at any other position apart from zenith, because zenith is the point where the moon is closest to me. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So every observation I've made with the sun has been at solar noon, and every observation I've made with the moon, other than when it's been rising, has been at its point of zenith. So I've always used that as a point because it's always its closest point to me. You know what I mean? In reference to any kind of measurements, or when I measured the meridian passing, the time it took the moon to occupy one spot the same night, I've always used that point at zenith. So
how did you measure the width, or that? How did you measure it? Was it by pixels or something?
I'll show you now, because what I did, there's a program called Bursoft Measuring Tool. I'm going to get it up for you now. It's very, very expensive, but it's very, very accurate, and it's what all the professionals use. And what you can do, you can actually get a city, and you can have it as a bird's eye view, and you can put in the formulas, and you can measure the length of the streets. You know what I mean? This is like the top program. I'm going to get it up here now and just show it you.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, that's big enough.
Can you see the screen?
I'm going to try and hopefully.
Might
Can
be
you
a bit
see it?
bright. Hold on, let me just turn this up.
You can actually, I think, share from. Is that computer how you're in the? No, you're in her call. Never mind. Never mind.
I can't because I'm on the wrong. I'll tell you what I'll do.
Right, I realized that even as I said it, Dave, that you're in
No,
Roxanne's call, not your own call. Sorry.
I was going to say, I could send Dave the link and mute
Yeah,
mine
yeah,
and let Dave come into the chat so that he can do that.
And I
you know?
could do a measurement
I think this
live
would
on air
be-
if you want.
Yeah, I would love to
yeah.
see this. I'm really wanting to see it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Let me do that now, Dave. I'm going to send
I
you
need
the
to
link.
get
Yeah?
through to the internet first.
No worries.
Sorry, Horry, we don't mean to just totally derail what was going on.
No, you guys, it's fine. It's great. I'm taking care of business all at the same time, multitasking.
You're better man
And
than I am.
certainly, you're welcome to jump in at any point.
I know.
We're
Dave,
very, very laid back and casual here on the realm.
Dave is. I wanted to make sure that everybody heard what Dave said, because I love the people that are on the groundwork, the people that are doing the sciencey stuff that I can't even understand the terminology of sometimes. Love Dave for that. I love Globebusters for that. Just the same. John the Morgal, wonderful brains like John the Morgal and Jeranism. Got Bob. I really appreciate those kind of brains being in the movement. We need that. And all I can do, I say all I can do, but I appreciate what I do. I love myself enough to say I like what I do. I share their stuff. I get their stuff out there to people that don't have enough time to watch a 3 or 4 hour long podcast. I'll watch that podcast when I do make my rounds, and I'll take I'll take a minute or two of here and there, and save people time researching that, because that's what people used to really love about my stuff, is that it would save them so much time. And I still do that. I just don't, I woke up now fully, so I don't actually research flat earth anymore, but I still like to keep up with different channels to see, what I can put out there. That's why you see the news show happening less. If you've been keeping up.
Service is just invaluable. I mean, don't ever put yourself down and say you're not adding anything to this. That's exactly what we need is, I mean, there's so much
John.
time and hold on a minute.
Yeah, all right. Easy, tiger.
She says that you're not on Nathan anymore. All right. Let me finish. There's so much material out there that it does take people to go and snip it up and find those nuggets and put them out there, because a lot of us don't have time. Go on, Adam.
Yeah.
No, not really. All I was going to say on that, I remember sending Horry this data. It's by Moonlight data. And I remember he was one of the few people that bothered to give it a shout out. First came out, so thanks, bruv. And I know that you'll do that for most folks, mate. I wanted to bring this bit of data up just for John Dee, because this is one I talk empirical. And Dave, this is like the data I've got that just shows it does cool. There's the cooling. A lot of other stuff, but if you look down here, see the difference after an hour or so in Moonlight, the difference between my probes, and then this is the point here where I switch them over. I
can't see your mouse, Adam, but I'll tell you what, once we finish the moon phase presentation, we're going on to do this one as a presentation, because we pissed all over this without explaining it properly. It needs putting step by step. You up for that?
Yeah, I'll happily go through this pile of.
I thought we addressed it pretty well. I think it might have gotten washed out a little bit. And
there was a lot going on at the time, right? D. Marble was there. We were in the middle of the John Brahma drama. So yeah,
drama.
Right, the Brahma dramas. So there was a lot.
Better memories than me, I tell you.
It got buried a bit. That's why I've been wanting to pull it out of that show, and when I go try to pull it out, it's jumbled with other.
No, we did cover it. I mean, we
covered it
quite extensively, but there was never. But what we need is a summary and presentation.
Guys,
with the moon phase thing. Sorry.
It's easy. All you got to do, guys, is write it down. Just script it. Or, I mean, really, a lot of the stuff that I do, I could pull up a folder right now of all the flat earth news shows.
No.
Sorry.
And on my older Flat Earth News shows, when I did them offline, they were, I'm getting a lot of echo or something, but they were all scripted. I wrote out most of the stuff I was going to say. And you should just do that, you know, for anything. You just to be really crisp in explaining something, because you can get like off on a tangent, or you can like forget what you want to say. Like if you just structure it, it'll go a whole lot better. And then you can take that and snip it off and make it a separate video, you know.
Well, Horry,
right, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Right. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to give you just a little example of how I measured the moon. Yeah. So, can you see my screen in front of me?
I've got your full screen, Dave.
Okay, mate. What I'm going to do, I'm going to open a picture, and I'm going to give you an example of how I measured the moon. So, as you can see in the image, yeah, I've got the moon rise and the moon set. You can see the images there, which are obviously image 01. They're the ones I've already measured. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the second image here, and I'm going to measure it for you. What I use the elliptical tool to measure the image. But before I do that, what I always do, I always set my images to a certain resolution. So I have to go to transform, I have to go to resize. I always set my images at 1366 resolution.
Is that a much larger resolution than what you've shot it at?
No, it's less. I shot it at 20 megapixel, but because the actual measurement on the actual image, if I do it at the full 20 megapixel, you won't be able to see it. It's so tiny, and the software won't let me enlarge it. So what I've done with trial and error, I've found out that 1366 is a good size to actually measure the image. Yeah. So once I've
would you say it sharpens it up, Dave? It sharpens it up a little bit, allows you to measure it a little bit better, because making it smaller is going to crisp it up around the edges. Is that what's happening? No.
Still at 1366, it's still pretty high resolution. You know what I mean? It's at the resolution of my monitor. You know what I mean? So it's still pretty high. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
What I do then is I measure it, and how I do that is just by measuring 4 points. Now, you don't have to worry about accuracy, because you've got the pinch zoom, yeah, where you can pull the image in, and what you can do, you can get it to right to the edge of the actual image. You know what I mean? Within a pixel.
Yeah.
Same again, look, pull it down for 1 pixel.
Just tweaking it. And I'm guessing at the bottom, it's going to give you some statistics on the measurement of that elliptical tool, right?
I won't select the actual measurement size until I've got the image perfect. Yeah, and this
right, exactly.
Every single image from rise to set. So the tool, as you can see, is very accurate. Yeah, and all you have to do then is right click and write the measurement. As you can see there, you have a measurement. All I do then is click merge measurements and flatten them. What that does, that actually flattens that actual measurement into the image. And then what I do, so just for an example, when the moon is rising, yeah, if you look at the time here,
it's got a timestamp too.
I can't see their actual size, so I might have to just zoom it out a little bit. Yeah, 1711. Yeah, and the moon measured, the width was 556 by the height was 553. As you know, when you're looking at an object from farther away, you get that bit of a compression. Yeah, and as you can see, you get the compression from the image from the moon as well when you're looking at it through the atmosphere. What I'll show you now is, when I go to my later image, just remember 556 by 553. I'll open a new image.
Hey, will you just
I already
reiterate
forgot
that
it.
point for it? You just said, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, what I've done then, I've just measured the second image, this one I'm hovering over now, when the moon was rising. Yeah. So then, obviously, later through the night, when the moon got to zenith at its final point, which I think is somewhere around this one. I think it measures 556, but obviously, first thing I have to do is transform the image, resize it. Apply 1366. I'll just write that in just in case. Just to make sure the image is there. All I do then, get the measuring tool. Like I say, it's not important where I put the measurement tool at this moment in time, because it's not until I zoom it in that I need to get it as accurate as possible. So then what I do, I zoom it in, take it to within a pixel. If you're not happy, you can zoom it in more. You know what I mean? So you can get it perfect. Go to the other side.
Appreciate you doing this, Dave, because this is sort of technical shit that I like to see how you got to where you got to. So for anyone who might be dulled out by this, tough, because I'm interested.
Me too.
This is what we need. Yeah, this is what we need to see, guys. This is actually, it's, as we could see, it's time consuming. I don't think many of us would say it's difficult.
Yeah, like I say, it's not
just time consuming to do.
You know what I mean? It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So what did it say? It was 566. Or what?
553, 556. Yep, 556 for the height, 553 for the width.
I asked the chat to type in the previous measurements.
570 by 570. A perfect circle when it's at zenith. Yeah.
Wow.
Compared to when it's on rise.
Wow.
That's
wow.
Right. Admittedly, we haven't all observed that being repeated, but I've just observed that for the first time.
Yeah.
And we've just watched him casually drag those lines to the extremities of that image.
Yeah.
What it does is provide transparency for what you're doing.
So
exactly right.
Show how accurate. It's not like an estimate. You know what I mean? I'm getting pretty close on these measurements, and believe me, this is not the first time I've done these measurements. Yeah, I've done it so accurate where I've zoomed it in and I've got it so close to the actual pixel. You know what I mean?
And I'm sorry. Dave is using the same settings on the camera each time. So he's getting the same settings every time he takes all these pictures. And he's using the same resolution every time he scrunches the picture up or down in the photo tool here. And he's doing the same elliptical tool. He's repeating this for us over and over and over and over again and presenting us these results. And I love that. I love that. Now we get to see his transparency.
Dave,
we need this. Good job.
Yeah.
Dave. Good job.
Dave, can I ask, are you getting any, I mean, you showed that quite clearly there, but are you getting any kind of out of phase results that are confusing you, or are pretty much,
is there anything that's
is it matching? It was quite funny with Riley this week. You know, we've got correlation here. We don't need causation, but are you getting a perfect correlation each time with regards to
How many
any
times?
difference, or is there times, certain atmospheres where it doesn't affect it or sends it the other way? So even,
well, every time I measured it at apogee and perigee, it matches up with when it's at apogee and perigee. So when it's at apogee, it appears smaller. Yeah. As you can see there, apogee, I've got 3 readings. Yeah. And at perigee, I've got 4 readings, and it matches up. And
so, you know, you were saying that when you see it on the horizon, you see this big moon, and you say, well, I won't put words in your mouth, but what I'm hearing is that if you take photo of that big moon and put it through your process, then you can actually show that that big moon is not a big moon.
Yes, 100% every
Right.
time.
Yeah, have you got like a horizon or a big moon? I don't know if that's asking too much for this.
I know what you're asking me to. You actually see the moon with something in the backdrop, what makes it appear bigger.
It's probably for a different day. But that's really interesting to me. That's really interesting.
I haven't got the image where you see the moon where it's huge, yeah, where you can see the backdrops and it appears huge. But because my concentration at the time was to measure the moon at a certain focal point, which has always been 1440 millimeter. Yeah. So what I've done, I've just tried to prove from a flat Earth perspective, when the globularists say, why ain't the moon shrinking when it's going away from you or coming towards you, or getting bigger when it comes towards you? And I'm saying, yes, it is. And I've got the observable proof of that.
Yeah,
and this is what I'm presenting now.
And it's actually quite difficult to get those shots where you can see the horizon and the huge moon. It takes a setup.
Well,
yeah.
My goal was to shoot them shots, to catch the eclipse, then get the moon going away to show it getting bigger as it gets closer and getting smaller as it goes away, and as a bonus get the eclipse. But the weather took over and I never actually got the eclipse.
Man, that's so terrible to hear, because I was lucky enough here. It cleared up. I was thinking we would have cloudy skies that night, and I went out and it was clear. So
well, like I said, it was crystal clear for me for the first like 6-7 hours. I booked the day off work. It got to 4 in the morning and the cloud came in. In fact, it started raining where I was in the East Midlands. So I didn't end up catching it. But like I say, I got a lot from it because I got all these images, what I could measure. You know what I mean? And what the good thing about it was 100% full moon. Yeah. So I'm not measuring a 99.9% moon. I'm measuring a 100% moon as well.
It truly seemed brighter that night. It seemed closer that night. It seemed there was a lot going on. I saw the flashes that everybody's reporting as something hitting the moon. I saw more than the 2 they're reporting. First they said 1, now they're saying 2. I know I saw 3 or 4, and not just on the moon, around the moon that night. So it was quite an active night that night. Yes, definitely. Sorry you missed it, man.
Yeah, well, like I say, I only caught it up until like 2, and I think it was like 2:50 in the morning, and I was gutted that I didn't catch the eclipse because I wanted the eclipse for my presentation. You know, where I mentioned before, where the moon stays full for an extended amount of time. I wanted the observable proof of that. All I can go by now is time and date, the data from time and date to say, yes, the moon was full at 100% at this time, and it was full to that time. But what I wanted to do, I wanted, you know what I mean, the measurements with time-stamped images saying, yes, the moon measured full at this time, and it was full at that time. It's a shame. I've got to wait till 2022 till the next time we've got an eclipse. But the good news is there's a partial eclipse this year in July, and I will be going to Fuerteventura to catch that eclipse and make more observations.
So you're doing time-stamped images also for these measurements on the horizon too?
Always. Every single image I ever make, yeah.
So that you can
what
show
you'll
it to the
see
naysayers and say...
is always time-stamped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave, have you correlated any of your data along with the 360 guys? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes, Stan Smith and
Stan,
guys like that. Yeah.
Cosmic
No, I haven't,
Surfer.
because you know, like it is. Us flat earthers, we're a little bit of loners kind of. People, you know what I mean?
But have you seen the same sort of observations as they've been saying about the moon moving between Capricorn to Cancer over the space of a month rather than a year? Have you?
Of course, I've been measuring the moon. I've been following the moon for the last 3 years. Yeah, I know exactly what the moon's doing. Yeah, the moon takes 27.3 days to get from Cancer to Capricorn and back to Cancer. Yeah, it takes 27.5 days to get from its point to apogee to perigee and back to perigee. It takes 29.5 days, yeah, to complete its actual cycle in regards to the phases, and it takes 27.3 days to pass through every constellation. Yeah, and that's just a few of the cycles, and there's a hell of a lot more cycles related to the moon that you have to incorporate into the model if you're going to even attempt to build a model. You know what I mean?
I still I find that fascinating still, and again, it's like you know, our presentation of the moon temperature, the moonlight temperature, and the moon phases and everything. It's one of these things that we've got the data. We just need to collaborate and get it together and be able to put it out to an audience in a decent sort of Horry Sheet way. Hint.
Yeah, like definitely.
I like that. Let's go ahead and coin that one.
Do it the Horry Sheet.
Let's do it the Horry Sheet way. That's good.
I like that.
Well, me personally, I've never measured the temperature of the moon because I've concentrated my interest in other areas, in the motions of the moon. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, I questioned Kepler's law in my previous presentation, and I've questioned the globe model in the amount of time the moon remains full. You know what I mean? And I've also proven from a flat Earth perspective that the moon does get smaller when it's on the horizon, and it does appear bigger when it's embedded. So what I'm doing, I'm just doing my own thing.
Well, you're doing your bit, and that's what I mean. Adam's done the moonlight temperature experiment bit. I'm doing the moon phases bit. It's you know, like even Wakey with I mean, he's put in some great stuff as well.
Yeah, it's just put a good video out, actually.
That's it.
Yes,
It's a motion picture in the making, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
With all the information and the data and everything that we're
Yeah, like I say, I've got a jigsaw puzzle in front of me here, and there's a lot of pieces missing. And what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to put a few of them pieces in. You know what I mean?
I was just about to say, can you not correspond with all these guys and take make a compendium of all of your observations together with
Well, every single
showing all
observation
the
I've made,
cycles, showing all your observations, all their observations, and put it all in one big documentary.
everything I've done is out there for people to share.
I mean, in one place.
Well, it would be good to put it in one place. And you know what? I've got my own group, the Flatline, and we've got Flat Earth News, who's got the, I think he's got the Firmament Group and what have you. We've collaborated, we've joined the groups into one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've made the group, we've made 5 groups into one, really. And
I think phase 1 is getting all the information and the data into one place. Phase 2 is to Horry Sheet it and break it down. Yeah, you
Get
know
it out there,
Narration.
way that everybody can taste it and understand it.
Yeah.
Well, that actually
I
kind of
agree.
speaks. I'm sorry.
Well, like I say, if you follow me, you know I've got my own Facebook page, you know I've got my own YouTube page, and you know I've got my own Facebook group. So everything I've ever done, I've always put out there for everybody to share or use for whatever reason they want to use it for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I've shared the group here in our description, but I'll share the other stuff too in a little while there for you.
So basically, Dave, what you're saying is if anyone wants to take the data and Horry Sheet it, then it's available for them. Yeah,
that's what it's there for, mate. You know what I mean? I'm here for truth. I'm not here for the money. I don't monetize any of my channels. You know what I mean? Everything I do off my own back with my own funding. I've never ever asked for a penny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I've said this from day one as well. Any of the videos that I've put out, the gyroscope footage, anything else, it's available to anyone. Please go away and do something with it, because I'm not probably likely to. I don't have the expertise to do it, but someone out there has.
Well, whilst you're feeling philanthropic, Mr. Savage, how about me, you, and Dave do a moon week next week? Then we'll all do our own bits of moony stuff. I'll get my temperatures out, you get your phases out, and Dave, you can smash it which way or the other. But I'd like your opinion on the stuff we're doing. Can we get you nailed down, Mr. Savage?
I'll tell you what, 15th.
You're a bugger.
I'll tell you what, instead of rushing it for a week away, I've got a date in the diary, which is March 15th. which is a very special day.
Beware that day.
It's a very special day.
And that's
It's
Steak and
Friday
BJ
too.
Day.
It's also. Are you going to shut up and listen or what? It's a Friday. It's the 15th, and that will be a day when we will see a certain anomaly in the sky that doesn't fit with the ball Earth model in any way, shape, or form. So I suggest that date.
What is it? What is the anomaly?
I'm trying to remember. It's either a crescent moon at midnight or a gibbous moon at midday. I think it's a crescent moon at midnight.
I knew it was close, John. It's the day after Steak and BJ Day.
You speak for yourself.
Oh my God.
You got Valentine's Day.
No, I don't have Valentine's Day because that's my birthday. So I denounce.
Oh, that's harsh, that is, isn't it?
That's my Earth Day. So
That's like getting mugged off at Christmas with your birthday.
Mugged off. Like, mugged off differently. Ridiculous. So no, I denounce that day. That is not even a day in my vocabulary. It's my birthday.
I don't blame you at all.
Well, I think March.
Happy birthday early, Roxanne, because I know I'll forget later. I just want to wish you happy birthday early.
A couple of weeks early, but happy birthday for sure.
I was going to say, if you're back on in 2 weeks, though, so that might work out well.
Perfect timing.
I'd like to wish everyone a premature and belated happy birthday. Whoever
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Anytime. Anytime.
You know,
I apologize.
I really appreciate it. That means a lot coming from you. I really know when it's coming from the heart. So that's really sweet, John. Thanks.
Shout out
I would like to wish you all a happy unbirthday.
Right.
How does it go? A very merry unbirthday.
A very merry unbirthday to you.
To who?
Or a happy hearsay birthday.
Is that like saying I'm sorry I won't be at your funeral, but my condolences? Is that like an early condolence? I don't get it.
That'll do.
It's pretty morbid, bro.
I'll express my early condolences for not being at any of your funeral.
I think that's really respectful and polite.
You can't be.
There you go. I've done enough sucking for a whole year there.
There you go. You caught up.
Sorry, there was
You
something
feel
I was
pretty
gonna
good.
say.
Well, I hope you can segue into something better than that.
Yeah,
Well, here's a pretty good segue. Speaking of presentations, recently around the flat Earth social media sites, I've seen an uptick in people talking about how 8 inches per mile squared doesn't make a perfect circle, and that we shouldn't be using it. And you know what the hell's going on? Some people are saying that, you know, of course it works. Ballers are so stupid. Now they're saying that it doesn't. 8 inches per mile squared isn't the math for a ball. All this other stuff. So I've been throwing out a savageplane.wordpress.com and your article there on an accurate fictional curvature calculator.
I was going to say, I mean, of course it doesn't represent a perfect sphere. No one ever suggested it did.
Well, hold on to your hat, because people out there think it does.
Well, I mean, we're trying to measure it and we're looking at our observations and going, well, obviously it doesn't match up, so something is wrong. So we know that is true. But what do you think that they're going to present? A geoid shaped Earth at some point to what, like geologically accurate, like, you know, to account for places as flat as, let's say, Kansas or the Bolivia salt flats? I mean, they have to make something that's going to account for that. I'd love to see their little geoid that they send us and say, no, guys, this is, if you're going to measure Earth, you got to measure it based on what the hell? Go ahead. Come at us, bro.
Horry, if you're going to make an accurate fictional curvature, like an accurate representation of their model, you'd have to use the geoid.
Right. Some sort of geoid.
Adam
some sort of
exactly
weird, like misshapen something rock, right?
Well, it's usually just a datum. It's kind of an average of what they think their shape is all around, and it's not completely spherical.
Well, no, it's oblate.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Neil.
But
Yeah, that's what he said.
you know, it averages out all the bumps and the mountains and stuff, and they're kind of average. So we could have an accurate fake curvature calculator according to that. No, you could do it from just find somebody who does topography of curves and spheres in a math department.
Well, that's why we've got the Pythagorean
Yeah.
theory.
You could work it out.
I mean, we've already surveyed this. Don't we have national surveyors little things everywhere? These little like pegs where they've marked out measurements all over. I mean, we should have this geoid or whatever already. We don't. We obviously have a very, very what? Spherical shaped Earth. The water bends perfectly to this perfect ball.
Yeah, and they don't even claim that. Do they?
Well, no, I think all curvature measurements have been based on the Pythagoras theorem.
And a circle, like a great circle of a sphere. Yeah. So they don't even make their own curvature calculator according to their own Adam, G or D6, whatever, do they?
No.
So in case anyone's wondering what's being shared on the screen here, sorry.
Oh yeah, what's that?
That's mooncalc.
Okay.
That is mooncalc, that's right. And what's being shared here is March 15th.
Can I just say that every observation I've made on mooncalc in regards to azimuth and declination angle has been spot on within about 2 or 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is a date to put in your diary, anyone, to see how accurate this is. On March 15th, okay, on March 15th, from 11 o'clock onwards, we should be able to see a waxing gibbonous moon in the sky during the day. This is all during the day. Okay, and that's fine. If people don't understand why this is significant or not, then that's cool. But put that in your diary and let's see if you can see it at 12 midday. Your waxing gibbonous.
I'm setting my flat Earth sun and moon clock right now for that date. Hang on 1 second.
Oh, I've got a bone to pick with that.
No,
I installed that on my wife's fondle slab, but it told me that I had to turn on Wi-Fi scanning and location tracking and all sorts of shite.
What you'll notice
You may, I don't know, maybe you got the wrong one.
It might be to just make it easier for people to set up in their time zone. I can understand why the Wi-Fi locating. But,
yeah, I can understand it, but it's an imperative. It won't work unless you turn on your location information and your Wi-Fi scanning. And I looked under like Wi-Fi scanning, and it said it'll pick up Wi-Fi signals even when your Wi-Fi is turned off, and this, that, and the other. And I'm super paranoid, Horry. I don't like any of this shit. It's not even my smartphone.
I'm gonna ask some questions to the right person.
I did today. I asked Earth. I messaged him over YouTube. But yeah, I'll be asking him again. I need that crap turned.
I've got him on my Skype. We'll see what happens.
Excellent. Ask him. Say, please do an update on it where you can access
I'm sure he'll agree with that as far as truthers paranoia goes.
He did agree with it in the comments. To be fair, he said he was going to look into it.
There you go.
I totally understand that. But anyway, I'm not going to try and explain anything about what I'm putting up here. All I'm saying is March 15th. That is a night that you need to look out for the waxing gibbonous at 12 o'clock. That's all I'll say.
Is there any reason behind that?
What's the reason behind that?
It'll become revealed. It'll be revealed. And there's another date. There's another
cliffhanger,
date
though.
you want to put in your
You'll be able to find out on the 15th. That night, you'll be tuned in to Iron Realm Media, and we'll divulge then what to be looking out for later that evening.
I can actually plan on being
Oh,
outside, streaming it outside if it's going to be visible here. I'll have to go check.
Okay. So they can't tell us now.
No, we're gonna have to wait until the night and tune into Iron Realm Media to find out. So we're gonna have to go and see if we can see it in midday.
What time? I'm trying to see where it is for me.
4:30 Central, 10:30 GMT.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's when we start.
What we'll find out is that
No, I'm talking about this actual event. When is it, John? What time?
if you look at the moon
we're talking
rising
March
times round
15th.
about the,
I got that.
the
And we're
equinox,
talking also, sorry, carry on.
if you look at the rise and set times around the equinox, yeah, what you'll see is you'll see a massive jump in the moon. Yeah, it will jump, make big leaps north. Yeah, normally it rises like 50 minutes a day. Yeah, what you'll find is it's rising 20 minutes earlier a day on the equinox. Yeah, which is quite interesting. So if you
Like an acceleration.
So if you go to September, say if you went to September, if you just click on the
Yep.
date of September.
Hold on a minute. I'll just point this one out. 10th of May at 12 o'clock at night, midnight, crescent moon. And that's all I'm going to say. Right. Where do you want me to go?
Just go to September, about 24th, I reckon, somewhere around there.
No.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the moon rise time at 1:36, is it 1:36, 1:35? Yeah. Now go to 25th and look at the rise time. (2:48). Less than an hour. Normally it's 24 hours, 50 minutes. Yeah. What you'll find is on the equinox, the moon makes huge jumps north and rises a lot earlier. Yeah. So obviously it cuts down on that 24 hours and 50 minutes time. Now, if you go to the 26th, yeah, so it's 2:48.
I didn't know this.
It's 4:09. And the further north you go, the earlier it rises.
How do they explain this on a ball? How does it make such a drastic difference?
I'm still trying to get my head around this one because it doesn't make any sense at all. Because
it's not a ball.
Yeah.
That's crazy, guys. Good finds.
I did the same. I was going through, I mean, what I was looking for was a crescent moon at midnight and a gibbous moon at midday, which by rights is impossible on the ball earth model.
yeah, because it's always in the light of the sun on a crescent moon.
Exactly. If you're seeing a crescent, then the moon has to be between you and the sun. If you're seeing a gibbous, then it has to be behind you and the sun. However, I've found I went through every single day for the year and found a crescent moon visible at midnight and a gibbous moon visible during midday, which is utterly impossible on their ball earth model.
Maybe I'll go a little bit further on. There you go. What he's saying is, well, you get a crescent moon, yeah, but it's in the path of daylight. So how can you see a crescent moon at night time? It's always in the path of daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Even like, look.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crescent moon, night time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's in the path of daylight.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. I've just got it on my screen here.
That was great.
Maybe I can share the screen and show you what what you're talking about because I can explain it better with a model.
Yeah, right.
Guys,
So
if you look, I should be screen sharing now. I've put up the slide of John's that you should be able to see that there for you, Dave.
Yeah. So where do I click?
It's on the YouTube.
That's the old slide, mate.
The old slide.
Yeah, I just got to point out the waxing gibbous and the
well,
waning
that's
gibbous should be the other way around.
Oh, you see, that's me
Yeah.
sticking
What
numbers in.
I've got NASA's phases model here, where
Have you got
I
one?
can show you a better representation of that. What you're trying to explain.
NASA's phasing model. Why didn't we think that?
I'm just looking at to share the screen now.
I love your slides, though, guys. Those are really beautiful.
Are you saying, John, while Dave's doing that, are you saying March the 15th is when?
What I'll show you now. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you can see there. Oh, let's come back a little bit. What you've got there, it didn't stop again. It's not stopping, hold on.
Wow. What are you doing?
As you can see there, you've got a waxing crescent moon, yeah? But if you look at the moon, it's in the path of daylight. So if you look here, yeah, see how the moon falls in the path of the daylight? So how can you see a crescent moon at light time when it's always in the path of the light?
My point exactly.
Do you understand it?
Yeah.
It would be impossible to see a crescent moon at night time because it's always in the path of the sunlight.
Yeah, and those two dates that I pointed out, they put you on a 12 o'clock noon on the ball, seeing a gibbous moon, and they put you at 12 o'clock midnight on the ball, seeing a crescent moon. So that's the 14th of March and the 10th of May. Dave, we've got to get together and Adam to I love your graphics. Those graphics are awesome. Whatever software you're using, I think we can work together.
Lunar reconnaissance software, what I borrowed off them.
Okay.
But it sounds like you understand the paradox that you literally cannot have a gibbous moon during the day or a crescent moon during the night under their model.
Because it's in the path of sunlight.
And yet,
how could you have a crescent moon at night time when it's in the path of the light?
Exactly my point. Thank you, Dave. I love you.
Whatever they say, you know what I mean? It's still in the path of light. It's going to be visible in the light time. What I've done, I shot the strawberry moon in the daytime and proved that the strawberry moon shouldn't be visible in the daytime because it's on the night side. You know what I mean?
What's the strawberry moon? Sorry.
Strawberry moon, basically, with the full moon in August. Yeah.
Right.
Where the full moon rose, but the sun was still above the horizon. And what I did, I switched the camera around from the full moon to the sun and says, look, how is this possible? Yeah. The moon is on the night side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sun is on the light side, but the full moon is rising on the daytime side of it.
Brilliant.
Listen to County Nodell's idea of how the moon is.
What I'll do here, I'll just go. I can't really see this screen yet, but here it is. Did you hear the screen?
Yep.
Nice. And this should be utterly impossible on the ball model.
Yeah.
You've got to be there to catch these things, so you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, I'll share a video for the purposes of, I'll mute the sound because I don't want to get a bloody strike for this, and it's commercial crap. But what I'm asking for is if anyone can recreate this this video, then we need it recreated so that we can all use it rather than have some big name corporation strike us every time we do use it. So come back to me in a minute. I'll share the screen and show you which video I'm on about. Here we go.
Sorry, was it John or Adam doing the phases?
Say it again.
Was it John or Adam doing the phases?
I'm John. Adam's helping me on it as well. And after we're finished with that, I'll be helping Adam on his moon, on his moon temperature stuff.
Have you spoken to Cammy Nodell about the phases?
Not personally, no. We're sort of separated by 1 degree.
Okay, but she has a really interesting explanation for why the light is coming from the moon and why it seems to be on the reflected, like it seems like a reflection. She is saying that it may be fed by the light of the sun and not be reflecting it. It's sort of like a fluorescence, like when you...
Yeah, sort of energized by it.
Yeah. And,
no, I totally understand that.
It happens in certain stones because she's a gemologist.
That's right.
And you can illuminate them almost like glow-in-the-dark things.
Silicon or silicite or something.
Yes, and that fluorescence or luminescence happens on the side where the radiative energy comes in.
Because the moon, the lit side of the moon is always relative to the angle of the sun.
It's triggered by the crystalline structure. So what happens, as I understand it, it's some of the crystals, like bloody name.
Same here.
I've got some.
I'm going to nick your screen share at the moment.
What? Give me a sec before we do that. Those crystals, basically within the crystalline structure, they're able to absorb the light and maintain it for a short amount. Now, whilst they're exposed to those same conditions, that battery, one of example of light store sits there. It's only when they reach, and this is proven in papers or supported by papers, that this crystalline action occurs, that when they then get to lower temperature, the crystalline matrix constricts and it releases this pre-stored photon energy, which then releases this light. Now, there are other studies that show that impeded and stored light, when able to refract or reflect off of an object, part of the refraction process of light is actually the whole photon comes in and then goes out again and is reformed. And in part of that process, it upgrades the photon from the low energy light that is emitted by the crystal, and it takes some of the energy from the reflection source. And that's the postulation behind why moonlight is cooler. And it's that work that Cami talks about with crystals, I think.
Yeah, but I was talking about the idea of that it appears to be a reflection because it's roughly on the side of where the sun should be a lot. And so people get confused, but it's not in the part that's illuminated isn't directly facing where it should be facing.
It is
to get that as a reflection.
That's due to the observed. You know, when we're talks about the actual rotation.
What she's saying is that it's not. It's just it can be on that side, but it's not reflection.
No, but the lit side of the moon is always facing the sun.
Yes.
When you've got a full moon,
yes.
The moon is 180 degrees. The sun and the moon is 180 degrees apart.
Yeah.
And you've got a quarter of a moon. Yeah, but the 90 and whatever 9. So
right.
The angle is relative to the actual phase. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's true, but she's saying that it's not reflection at all because it's facing it and getting the energy from that side.
Yeah, but you have to take into consideration the moon rotation. You know when I said when you look at the moon and you turn around and it turns? Yes,
no, she demonstrates it really well. Invite her on the show, Adam. Mm-hmm.
Do you mean for the moon show on the 15th with John?
Oh, yeah. Invite
and Dave. We should.
Yeah, invite me on, mate. I'll come on.
Yeah.
Love to get Cammy on. Love to get anyone on. We should have a whole dedicated moon show.
Moon show.
Moon show.
I'm liking moon show.
I like
it's like, what would be a moon's... You know, if you had a moon orbiting the moon and it had a show, what would you call that, Walt? Josh, help me. Save me, because I know what I'm on about.
It would be a moon.
Thank you.
A moon show, or would it be a moon show?
Oh, that's the question.
Moonalima. I said Moonalima. Moonalima.
That's Dave's, isn't it? Moonalima.
Moon show.
I invented that word.
Yep.
Moonalima.
I'm going to go down in history. Moonalima. Realize that you're going down in history.
In my previous presentation, I was basing the actual motions of the moon on the motion of the sun. Yeah. They called the analema. So I needed a word.
Lunalema. Right, if I go and look up the word Lunalema, is it going to be written that Dave Marsh started that word?
So I don't know if my screen is sharing or not. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So you'll see that you can see the crescent moon, but you can also see the sun.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way to have a crescent moon. You know, if this person turned 180 degrees, there is no way you can have a crescent moon at nighttime. It would be a gibbous moon. And this is what ballers and flat earthers alike can't grasp. So this is what I'd like to nail home on Moon Night.
Moon Night.
March. 15th of March. Moon Night.
Moon Night.
In regards to the crescent moon at night time, I showed that in my presentation, my moon race Lunalima presentation. That's one of the highlights of the presentation about seeing a crescent moon at night time.
For me, Dave, what John's talking there is right. I don't know about you when you start off with this. How do you put it in French? It's a head fuck.
Yeah, it is, because you know what I mean, because they've always got that rotating ball to say yes, but the ball rotates the night time, looking through, you know what I mean, looking through the twilight kind of thing. So.
Hopefully what John's going to do is make it understandable what's happening each day and each day of the month, so that you understand what the heliocentric model describes in its model, but what we're trying to suggest there is what we're going yeah, which to me did my head in, even until I had to do the slides. You know what I mean? It's figuring, it's actually getting a mental image of the daily effects and the monthly effects, and combining those two to go, well, that's nonsense, because I've seen things that contradict that every day of my life.
Well, this is why I'm specifically sticking to midnight and midday, so that we can draw that tangential line and show what is above the horizon, what is below the horizon. And this is why I'm sticking to midnight, midday.
I was going to share something here for you.
Go for it.
Can you hear the sound?
The reasons why the phases of the cycle are different is because the cycle is based
Very faint.
on which is the stars, which says the stars to occupy the same spot the following night, it takes 23 hours and 6 minutes. But the phases are actually based on the sinusoidal day or the solar day, which we all know is 24 hours. Interestingly, there's quite a lot of different cycles on the moon. You've also got what you call a Saracen cycle, which takes something like 18 years. You've also got a cycle which goes from perigee to perigee. That's basically from this point here, that same point. That cycle takes 27.5 days. So you've got various different cycles on the moon, and to get your head around all these different cycles, it's quite mind-boggling. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause it here. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen a crescent moon at night time. In fact, I see one a few weeks back, I took a photograph of it. What is interesting, when you see a crescent moon at night time, if you look at this little moon here, it's still in the path of the sun. So, like one day after a new moon, where you just see a little slithering of a crescent moon, it should be visible at night time because it's still in the actual light of the sun. So next time you do see a little crescent moon like that, say yourself that should be impossible according to the heliosexual model. The path of the sun.
That was just an example, basically, from my previous presentation where I actually showed that the crescent moon should be visible during the night time.
Their whole model is so garbage. But people don't take the time to look at it like this. They don't have real models to look at in the first place that accurately represent the real model. A lot of times it's CGI from who knows what that seems to represent it, but it doesn't match up to like the real time of day or whatever, like stuff like that. And when you look at it scrupulously, this is what we find.
It's
right?
like a broken clock, isn't it, Horry? It's right twice a day. This is literally right twice a day, or at least in a split second in time. It's right, but it doesn't correlate with what we see in reality, and that is the problem. And if the model is wrong, you've got to throw the model out.
Right. It matches very well almost most of the time to what we could maybe see and observe, and most people are just going to coast with that and not look at it. But that's the problem when you look at it really hard. You see all the discrepancies.
That's the hammer on the head. Dave, can I ask you that web page that you're using, the NASA web page or whatever it was, it looked as though you could set the time and day on that.
Yeah, you can pick the hemisphere, or you can pick the year. So you can pick 2018, the Northern Hemisphere. If you go onto NASA Goddard, you can actually select the hemisphere and the year, and you can download the actual full animation for that year. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been basing my obviously.
Do us a favor, could you drop us a link to that? Could you drop us a link to that? Because I would love to see what their depiction is.
You'll be for moon phases, NASA Goddard, you'll find every single moon phase from 2014 right up until whenever. So
cool.
I just took a screen capture of it and just took out the information that I needed.
Awesome, guys. I love the work that you guys do. I can't get out there and do all this, and I love hearing about it. And even though my brain is so spinning right now, I'm sure it's more so from the knowledge rather than the amount of alcohol I drank, because I'm pretty good at holding it these days. But man, you guys, thank you for doing that, Dave. We need this. We all need this.
It should be Selena then, because Selena.
I'm digging the dual cameras too. That's cool.
That is nice. I like that.
Well, shall we call it, ladies and gentlemen? I think we could call that a successful show.
Yeah. Just want to put something out there. You know, I do that news show every week, and I got another one coming up probably in less than a week. So it'll just highlight a couple of new channels a couple of snippets from the best of, let's say, Globebusters for the past couple of weeks, and a few other good channels that we all know and love. And so look out for that. And also, I've been doing a new channel that I guess I've been reluctant to say what the name of it is, but it's my channel that I'm going to try to make really viral. And it's going to just be a funny channel where I play funny Vine videos and fights at Taco Bell or Pizza Hut or whatever's happening in the news that's really, really trending. Things that would make you laugh or go, oh, wow, like Rex or parkour or funny things in sport, whatever it is. I don't know. It could be a number of things, but check it out if you want a good laugh. You know, I try to keep those really short, but what I do is I put space bubbles in there also, and I wake people up with little drip feeds of flat Earth. And if it goes viral, then I don't know. It's waking some zombies up. It's sort of prodding them awake slowly. And it's called the Viral Videos Live channel. If anybody wants to check it out, I just did the first show the other day, and we'll give you a little taste of it. It's got no subs, no views, but go check it out. It's kind of funny. You know, got some time to kill. It's your funny videos on YouTube, Horry style. So there you go. Thanks for having me, Iron Realm. I appreciate it. Dave Marsh, Roxanne, Nora, love you guys.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Sorry it was so chaotic. I didn't realize everything was going to be happening all at once. I mean, I should have. That's again what we do every week, but I thought we might have had this week a little more well planned. But I love it. I think it's great. I think there's so much good information we got out there tonight. I can't wait for March 15th.
Horry, my favorite is when Flat Earth Man flies by.
You like him in the NASA rocket when he sent me that green screen stuff where he was just like strumming his guitar or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I gotta have him on the NASA rocket when it goes by. I got so many goodies. Did you guys see my video when I hit the dome? Epic. No. Go to YouTube and type in Horry hits the dome. Oh my God, I was pretty hammered one day, and I was on chat roulette. I think I was talking to somebody either that they were cosplaying a ninja or maybe some foreign country they were in, but they had that little like thing over their face. And I don't know, chat roulette is a crazy place. I could be getting trolled, but anyway, while I was talking to them, I hit the dome, and I was kind of ready for it, but I think I pulled it off. It's hilarious. Probably one of the funniest things. The dome cracked, the water started spewing out the back, and the screen or the dome started like turning into TV static, and then Jesus shows up to fix it all. You guys have to see that. You guys have to see it. But yeah, I'm a professional. I'm a professional goofball. What can I say?
It was nice to have a personal savior.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been great.
Anytime, Horry. Hope you can come back and join us again. It was an absolute blast.
Cheers, Horry, mate. Thank you for tonight. Thanks all of you guys. It's been fun, real fun this evening.
Right, Roxanne, Nora, Dave, what an absolute surprise. I was so happy to see you guys come on. Dave, I see you on Facebook everywhere. You are everywhere on Facebook. So that's awesome.
I destroy Facebook.
Thank you so much for having us, guys. It's been great.
It's always a pleasure. We look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.
A message to the chat room as well. Big hugs to everyone in the chat room.
Shout out to Dr. John Dee and Robin as well.
And Jason, yeah.
And Jason.
And Roxanne, good for you too for the Globe Tour, man. Keep it up. I love that. Do it.
Cool.
We've got one more shout out to our overseas guest in the UK, Nora. Cheers, mate. It's wicked to have you on.
Nora,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we give Nora? You're gonna give a shout out to your channel and stuff because
I don't have a channel. I'm trying to not have any subs and not have any attention whatsoever. You've got to have real life.
I was gonna say, wait, Nora's got a channel? What?
I want it to be completely obscure as possible, like conforming skins. No subs whatsoever. Unsubs.
No subs, please.
Is that a request?
Yeah.
Unsub, Nora.
Dude, she hopes it is.
Arwen will be freaking out right now if he heard that, something like that. What are you doing?
I'm the non-channel.
You know what? I think Nora's right, guys. Can you just unsub from me real quick? I want to see if this works.
Let's go.
We'll show YouTube, those bastards.
Yeah.
This will teach them.
You're stealing our business plan here.
Like
This
10
is
subs.
what IRM business plan is. Get
10
rid of
subs.
Right.
5,000 views.
Fly under the radar.
Screw the algorithm.
I don't know
Confuse
how
the
I
algorithm.
got- I don't know how I got subs. I just have like my brother on his little tractor mowing the lawn. It's stupid. I mean, why did anyone sub to me? That's crazy. I was like even putting up videos so that no one would want to sub me. I was like, what's going on?
It's just too much love for you. Too much love.
Anyway, thanks for having us, and it's been a great evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dave,
Dave.
a lot. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks,
Been
Adam.
fun.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you, Dave, Roxanne. It's been brilliant.
Don't forget the t-shirt.
Got to love it. How sexy is that?
He's repping Iron Row Media. He's repping that. Look at that.
I hope we're getting screenshots of this somewhere. Somebody's snapping
We'll
away.
do a photo after. We'll do a photo opportunity. We'll do a photo opportunity after. No problem.
Beautiful. That'd be perfect.
Oh, I almost forgot. We had DMT Matrix shout us a super shout out. You're bringing new social acceptance to Flat Earth. Thank you. So,
That's what
thank
I'm
you,
excited for.
DMT Matrix.
Social acceptance to this whole topic.
I think you're there. I think it's
We're on our way.
acceptable.
We're on our way.
We are
Hey,
on
Josh,
our way.
before we wrap it up,
Hmm.
right, I've got the notepads out.
What
I've not been there all night. So I just wanted to check in case there's a important.
I think we've got questions.
There is one. And that was, I was in chat this week with West Coast Wisdom. And you know, I've started making a few special ointments and creams, and I made it for a friend, first of all. And when I met up with Jean, came back down to Nottingham, I gave her a little tub of Beacon's magic ointment, and trademark.
It just
Oh,
sounds gross.
goodness.
I gotta say, it sounds a little.
I'll be travelling all across the northwest, selling it out the back of my wagon.
MMO from your carpet bag.
But I've got to say, and I can't vouch for it, so maybe people in chat seriously could ask West Coast Wisdom. He says it's working on her knees. Guys, this is somebody who's used lots of conventional medicine. This is just a compounded form of cannabis oil, simply. Yeah, I was really freaking chuffed, man, when he said it's working.
Don't forget, Adam, it's infused with love and care. And that has a lot to do with it, too.
I've learned that, bro. From you.
Right, take it easy, chaps.
Guys, yeah.
Great night. I really enjoyed it, and I will catch you up next week.
Sounds good, John. You sleep well.
Will do.
You be safe
Yeah.
walking home.
Good night.
Later, guys.
Good
See you
night,
later, Horry.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Love y'all.
Yep, I suppose we can wrap this up.
I got a screen if you've got music.
I do somewhere. I'll just go this one. I don't care. So I guess that's going to call it another Friday. TGIF. Thank God it's flat. Thank God this Friday is over. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I miss my cat. And we love you guys. We will see you right back here next week. Way to end it on a high note, Josh. I'm sorry. I had a blast, though. It was great. Don't forget, 4:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Right here on the Iron Realm YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe. Hit the little bell notification. See if that pops up. I'm curious. Give us a search.
Check it.
Yeah, always check it. Always double check it. Make sure you're still subscribed. All kinds of weird stuff happens here on YouTube. By the way, YouTube, F you and your censorship. We are not alone. We are striving for more. We are